6 tips to build a stronger board and deal with events, dear boy. When Harold Macmillan was asked what he feared most as Prime Minister, he famously replied, "Events, dear boy, events." Those unforeseen crises caused many a world leader sleepless nights before a humiliating public exit. Charities and not-for-profits can be just as susceptible to the negative consequences of events. However, more often than not, they are predictable. For example, financial collapse due to the loss of key income sources. Likewise, the malign impact of charismatic but poor leadership. Over the last 10 years, I've worked as a chair, trustee, senior manager, and as a consultant in various charities. I've also observed many other boards in action. In that time, I've identified some activities that are most likely to strengthen boards and the organisations they lead. So here are my 6 tips for building a high-performing and strong board. Number 1, set a clear vision and strategy and be inclusive in the process. Setting vision, mission and strategy is one of the key tasks of a board. This applies to all boards, not-for-profit and FTSE 100 companies. It's reasonable to delegate the analysis and presentation of options to the CEO and the management team. However, some boards may wish to play a more active role. But the final decision on strategic direction is one for the board, after a full assessment of the options. Too many boards play a passive role in this vital area. As a result, they fail to lead on an area for which they have the ultimate responsibility. Number 2, own the strategy, but delegate delivery to the Chief Executive. Delegate delivery of the vision and strategy to the Chief Executive and Senior Management team. The accompanying strategic plan should set out key performance measures and form the main component of the Chief Exec's objectives. Review and scrutinise progress of both regularly. Review strategy annually and more frequently if there are major changes internally or in the external operating environment. Number 3, get the balance right between challenge and support to the Chief Executive. This can be a very tricky area to get right, and I've seen boards where the Chief Exec is very much in charge. On the other hand, some boards stifle senior management through excessive control. Both are to be avoided at all costs. Make sure you provide the space and support for the Chief Exec to achieve the vision, mission and strategy. The Chair and Chief Exec should meet regularly to review progress, recognise success and identify barriers. The board must ensure the Chief Exec has sufficient resources and capacity to deliver the vision and strategy. A clear set of delegated authorities from the board to the Chief Exec will help. However, the board must demand hard evidence and not just verbal assurances that performance is on track. Accordingly, expect the Chief Exec to be scrutinised and challenged on any aspect. Trustees should keep delving until they get what they need or uncover problems. Defensiveness, blocking or withholding information by senior managers is a big danger sign. Number 4, set high standards for board performance. The performance standards and legal requirements of boards and trustees are high. However, trustees join boards through a commitment to the cause and a more general desire to give back to society. Both are to be strongly encouraged, but neither can fill gaps in the basic ability to operate at the level required to be a trustee. A board needs to understand the range of skills necessary to succeed and ensure they're in place. These skills can be shared across a number of trustees. High board performance requires board succession planning, rigorous recruitment standards, and thorough trustee induction. It also requires annual board and trustee performance review and a clear process for removing underperforming trustees. A high-performing board will spend most of its time on the most important issues, almost always comprising strategy, performance, and risk. Make sure the agendas reflect these. Number 5, understand major risks and ensure they are mitigated. One of the most common reasons for company failures is that boards did not identify and mitigate major risks. Common major risks are health and safety, safeguarding if you deal with young people or vulnerable adults, cash flow, income diversification, and chief exec succession planning. But there are many other potential risks. Ask yourself, if your charity lost its largest income source tomorrow, could it survive? And what are you doing about it? All boards should have an audit or finance committee that scrutinises top organisational risks and their mitigation. The board should review this analysis at each meeting. The chief exec has responsibility for operational management of risks, but the board must ensure it is comprehensive, accurate and dynamic. Number 6, understand your charity impact and performance. What is the difference your organisation wants to make? What are the key activities and outcomes required to make that difference? These are fundamentally important questions charities need to answer to achieve their purpose. This is what's called your theory of change. Measuring progress is important, but don't measure for measurement's sake. Rather, measure to see if you're making the difference you set out to achieve. Following those 6 tips will not guarantee success or the avoidance of failure, but they will ensure your organisation is equipped to deal with most events. Moreover, they will create a foundation for a prosperous future.